Right, got this board. It's just over an inch thick. Probably by, what's that, 6 inches. Have a look. Just under 6 inches, about five and a half. It must have been in our garden for, I don't know, seems like forever, probably about 10 years. But I bought it in a while ago to dry it out a little bit, so I'm going to see if I can find a use for it today. So the very first thing I did was to take the board over to my planer thicknesser, where I ran it through on all four sides just to clean it up a little bit. Then it was over to the miter saw, where I could cut the individual pieces down to size. Now my original idea was to kind of cut out a nice curvy handle on either end, and they were kind of going to mirror one another but be the opposite way round. But after cutting it down on the bandsaw, I just didn't like the way it looked, and despite trying to trim it here and there and alter it as best I could, in the end I gave up, cut another piece down to size, and actually went for a more simpler design. As you can see, I've changed to a much more simpler design, and here I am just rounding over the edges on both sides of what will be the ends. I've done this on both sides and on both pieces. There's going to be a handle going across the top, that's what the holes are. Got some leftover dowel from a previous project about 2 years ago. Then I've cut some bits, and the corners are like cut at 45 degrees, and then basically I'm going to have one at the bottom, and there's going to be one further up with a slight gap. So here I am, just pre-drilling the pieces so I don't split the wood, and I'm just simply going to screw the sides onto the bottom piece. Please excuse my dodgy camera angles. I put the camera in totally the wrong place, so please forgive me for that. Now this is where things went a tad wrong. For some reason the nail gun would either fire it only halfway down or not fire at all. And long story short, after a lot of cursing, I realised like an idiot that I'd somehow managed to turn the pressure down on my compressor. So I managed to get it working in the end, but didn't actually film me nailing the pieces on. What is going on with my nail gun? It doesn't seem to be working. Right, after a lot of swearing and cursing, I managed to get my nail gun working, and I've nailed them on, and I've punched them slightly below the surface. I will be putting some dark stain on here. Not worried if you can see the nails, because it's meant to be kind of rustic anyway, just as well really, because it definitely looks rustic. Now I've moved over to my table saw and I'm cutting down some 6mm plywood, which I'm going to be using for the individual compartments. And I'm using my miter saw just to cut the pieces down to their final dimensions. Right, I'm making dividers for the bottles. I've got some 12mm ply, which is going to run down the centre, and then it's going to have some 6mm ply dividers, but obviously I've got to cut the corresponding grooves so they can all lock together. Here I'm just using my bandsaw to cut the slots out. I think I could definitely do with a zero clearance insert for this bandsaw. When you're cutting tiny little pieces, they tend to get jammed next to the blade or sucked down. But it's not really a negative for this bandsaw, because most bandsaw plates are probably the same. As you can see, the pieces simply slot together, no glue required. I decided I wanted to put my daughter's name on the side of the caddy, so I should have printed up a template off the computer, but being that I'm not very good with a computer, I decided to freehand the letters and then cut them out on the bandsaw, and as you'll see, they could have come out a lot better than they did, but being that it's my first attempt, they were okay. The outsides were quite easy to cut out, but the insides were a little bit more tricky. After watching a few videos on YouTube, I decided to just make some relief cuts to get the blade into the centre, and then basically just hogged out the centre pieces with the blade. Now I'm just using some CA glue to glue the letters in place. Now I know these letters ain't brilliant because it's my first time ever trying anything like this, and I'll be the first to admit I'm certainly not very good on the bandsaw at the moment, but for a first attempt I'm quite happy. And there we have it. Right, the only wood stain I've got is this rosewood. Not sure what it's going to look like, but that's what I'm going to coat it with. Just going to slap it on. Ain't worried about it looking pretty. The more rustic, the better. Well, that's the first coat done. Wasn't too keen on the colour at first, but the more I look at it, the more I'm thinking it don't actually look that bad. I'll say I ain't worried about it being the perfect finish because I kind of want it to look a bit rustic. Right, last job is to screw the bottle opener on the end. I just had a nightmare looking for some screws. I thought they come with screws. Turns out they didn't. Although these fit, the heads are a little bit smaller than I would have liked. The only other screws I had were blue. And that is the beer caddy complete. Didn't turn out too bad. Didn't go quite as well as I'd hoped it would have. My wife seems to think I never get into the Christmas spirit. Don't know what she's talking about. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Yes, Carl, there is coffee in there. That's going to wrap this year up, guys. I hope you enjoyed that little video. All that's left for me to say now is to wish everyone a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. All my subscribers, I want to thank you for subscribing to my channel and giving me a chance. I know I've got a lot to learn as far as making videos and video editing, etc. But in the new year, I want to try and up my game a little bit. This is a learning process for me. If someone had said to me earlier on in the year that I would be starting my own YouTube channel, I'd have probably thought, yeah, right, whatever. Because when people have mentioned it in the past, I've always told myself like that no one would be interested in what I do. So to post videos and actually get positive comments from people, that does actually mean more to me than you will really ever know. So I thank you for the nice comments that I've received. And like I say, I do want to try and up my game. I'm hoping to get my subscriber numbers up. So if you're watching this and you haven't already subscribed, please go down, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell icon, and you'll be notified every time I upload a new video. So I'm going to end it there before I bore you all to tears, and you can go back to drinking and eating your mince pies and what have you. And I will be back in the new year, and hopefully I can get my subscriber numbers up and improve my videos tenfold. So that's it from me, guys. I will see you on the other side.